Okay, this is a Tuned Port injection update on the 88 Corvette. Just a little more progress at working. I'm holding the light at the same time. Some of the parts we just put on are the powder coated exhaust manifolds, which were done in black, and the shields in the ceramic coated, should I say. So this side of the motor is still being assembled, waiting on one other part for the upper plenum to go on. Some of the stuff here, all of this bracket, which is the air conditioning bracket, was powder coated. And so all of that's back in there. Very nice. A few things that are left to do. Over here is not standard. Usually you have your air pump and your alternator there. This has got the Paxton brackets, which are going to go on there, which have been on this car since new. And we'll go to the other side. This side is pretty much assembled there. Don't have the air valve on it yet. I'm cleaning those up, painting those real nice. But, see the manifold down there, this bracket here, which I don't have the compressor all the way tightened in yet. And one of the things I'm doing, we're getting the water out of the throttle body, so I'm passing this right here, which usually goes to the throttle body, then comes out to this hose from the side of the throttle body. So these will join together, and I'm rigging up a way to keep those away from the fuel lines, because the last thing you want to do is heat the fuel lines. This car is different. It has the fuel line that goes in from the standard one. The one goes out, goes over here to this FMU unit, and comes back in to this one here. They're not all the way hooked up yet, but so that's it. And so one of the big dilemmas of putting this thing together and not having the upper plenum on it just yet is tightening all of these runners up. So all the gaskets, or the lower gaskets, are in place down here. You can see those. And so we have to basically leave these a little bit loose here. So the upper plenum will go in, and then tighten the whole assembly up together. And the big problem there is with these big runners, that bolt right there is very difficult to get to. You basically have to use a special ball end Allen head. The rest of them are not so bad, but these are very, very hard to get to. It doesn't look like it here, but you try and turn them, it's hard. Of course, that one's no cakewalk either right there. So, and then the back ones, which are the really crazy ones, all the way in from these angles here. So you got a bolt right there that you got to tighten up. You can see that there. Where's that at? Down there. Oh yeah, nuts. Then we've got the EGR, which goes across here, and that's a plate. So it's basically going to be dummied up, but the sensor will still be in place. So no EGR will come through the manifold, because the way the aluminum head Corvette works, it actually comes out of there, then blows into the manifold. So that's eliminating that. The other thing I eliminated on this car, being 88, is the cold start injector, which of course is always questionable to do, but being that it's on these big massive runners, there's just no easy way to put it on there. So, and then we even had to machine that runner there for that injector, the number 7 injector back there. So a lot of machining to do, but that's just an update. So it'll come together slowly here. And here's some of the other crazy pieces right here. You know, all of these Corvette plug wire pieces, which are basically unobtainium anymore. This car still has them. It's missing a couple of the cover clips, but all the clips are still in place. And I went through great painstaking effort to keep those together, because there's no easy way to do this right. It has to kind of be factory, or you have to go complete custom aftermarket. Because these plug wires all make a big loop behind all of that. And you start adding these big port systems on here, it gets even harder. And so the other side's all kind of buttoned up. I think video was on that. There, yep. See all the plug wires down in there. They're all there. And you know, these are the, you know, the D port heads. So they have to have, these are the factory gaskets, which I had to piece all those together for all the two center ports on the exhaust manifolds are one gasket, and the two end ones are into really three gaskets per side. And so, you know, getting those little babies takes a bit, and $100 plus just for the gaskets. Unobtainium stuff, hard to find these days. What else? That should be it. But yeah, it's coming along, and this is a project. I said I've been working on tuned port cars for a long time, and every time that you do this, you think you'd get faster at it. It just gets longer and longer. This is a month, you know, of straight work just to get this far, from the basically the crankshaft up, to do all this motor like this. And you know, we try and detail everything right and get it all there, and pre-check everything as best as you can. So who knows, if I have to do this twice, I'm gonna kill myself, but you never know. I've done it only 7 times on this car now, and the car doesn't have 20,000 miles on it. Tuned port is a very hard path to take, and rewarding. Well, the torque is rewarding, the neatness of it's rewarding, but it's hard to deal with, and I can tell you. So there's a lot of, you know, most people cut all this stuff up and throw it out of there. Oh, here's the other, yeah, that's what I was gonna get at. So you got all this air pump, the air diverter valves and all that stuff, which have to go back in this car. Well, this car doesn't even have an air pump on anymore, but yes, yet it does. It's called a Paxton supercharger. So that's the air pump. And what that does is now, off of boost, there's a switch that you can set up, and it opens that up to where it bypasses some of the boost to the air injection. So basically, it's your blow-off valve, or your pop-off valve, or your wastegate. And so you really kind of want all that back on there. And it's a nice, you know, functionality of something that's just emissions garbage, but it becomes useful now. So yeah, that goes back in all this mess. This is the really difficult area of this car. Just the fuel lines, all of this crazy. You know, y'all have worked on tuned port before. That from the water pump through the bracket, the hose through the bracket right there, all that has to go together at one time. And of course the fuel lines, which are mounted down where the regular fuel pump goes, it's got a bracket down there. And then you've got to have these bolts in there, but you do not want to put those in yet until you tighten that bolt up right here, because you can't get to them if you do. And so that just one thing after another. And then this piece up here, there's a crossover air tube, which is, you know, shoved down up under that intake. Crazy. And if you have the water neck on there, you can't get that on and off. So, because the water neck will sit there, so that's why the water neck's not on. So we can get all that in and out of there. All these things you learn about. And of course, you know, 88, 90, 91, 88 through 91 will have this tensioner right there. And that thing's a real bear, because you can barely get past the cross member there. In 87, they were higher, because the 87 had the smaller compressor, totally different bracket system. So yeah, that's an improvement for this compressor, but not an improvement for that thing down there. Good Lord. But anyway, that's an update. I will show some more later as it goes back together. But that's a lot of progress that we've done right there. It just takes so much tedious time to get all those plug wires, all the temperature sensors, the dipstick, all of that stuff right on these cars. You know, so the headers on these cars are a nightmare. These are the best way to go, and I don't care, you know, unless you're trying to wheel stand the car and be a world beater. This is really the only practical way on these cars to keep the integrity to it. And they run good. Like I said, this motor will be a 500 horsepower close to motor with a blower on it, and that's pushing it through the manifolds. So, but it's a very high compression motor too, so with a blower. Race fuel and methanol injection. So takes a lot to get a little horsepower out of one of these. Thanks for watching.